Leah Hill here with Harvest Hills Ranch, and I'm going to show you how I make clean chicken fried steak. So on the store, once you click the description, it does have the most common names for the cut that you might be more familiar with than the actual label I put on the store. So I put that on there to kind of help everybody out, because depending on your region and where you're from, everybody calls something a little bit different. So I took the time to research that and get that on the store. So this cut right here is called beef round steak mechanically tenderized. So beautiful piece right here. I'm going to show you how myself and Dr. Hill have chicken fried steak without the yolk. See you in a second. Let me start getting it defrosted. Alright guys, I already have the ingredients prepped for the chicken fried steak, and the meat is defrosting. I only put it in medium hot water, that way it's not cooking the meat. Never use your microwave to defrost your meat. Just take that little extra few minutes to make sure you defrost it naturally. You'll actually have better tenderness in the meat and then in the fibers of the meat by doing it a little bit lower and slower. All right, let's get started. All right, so I have my almond flour. I'm gonna do 1, and these are half cups, only because the full cup didn't fit in here. Alright, so that's 1 cup. So I'm going to put 2 cups in here. Alright, so there we go. So you will have to probably redo this once or twice when you are actually cooking the item. That way you can make sure that you have enough wet to dry ratio. All right. So I love to use smoked paprika. So I'm gonna do, this is a ½ teaspoon. So 1 teaspoon total smoked paprika. Now this, you don't have to do this step, it just adds a wonderful texture and flavor to the dish. All right, so maybe about just 6 or 7 little turns of your salt shaker, and just until I can see a nice little sprinkle of pepper on top. So depending on how hot you want it with black pepper heat, I'm gonna leave that one up to you. All right, so I have 1 cup of unsweetened almond milk. Boom. 1 duck egg. You can use a regular chicken egg. I just love duck. They're super creamy because you have a little bit more of the yolk and the white ratio with that. Really yummy. All right, and then I'm gonna do the same seasonings again in my milk mix. So same thing, 1 teaspoon of paprika again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm only gonna do 5 little cubes of salt in there. And looks about good, about 7 or 8 little clicks. Make sure to get all the water in. Now have your dry and wet ingredients on hand. Sometimes the meat will absorb more of the moisture, or it'll take more of the dry to kind of make that batter on there. So there's not really, you'll probably be doing this once or twice, and I want to make sure I take my ring off because I'm going to make a mess already if I don't. All right, I am going to get the meat out and I'll be right back. All right guys, I have my meat defrosted. Aren't these gorgeous? Woo-hoo. All right, here we go. So first thing I'm going to do is take a fork, go in my dry ingredients, and I'm just going to mix up all those spices. Don't see any pepper spreadage in this. Bloop. It looks pretty blah. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna add a little bit more pepper. So the crust is where you're gonna get the majority of your flavor from. So that's pretty much the only reason I care too much about this one. All right, so now we're going to whisk. Just break up that yolk. a nice mixture here. Let's see if I can do this without spilling it. Oop, too bright. Oh well. So what you're gonna see is a bunch of red specks of the paprika. You're gonna see a little bit, you're gonna see the egg yolk. So the coloring is just gonna be this golden red milk. All right. So I have Daisy Mae with me. She's hoping I drop something. All right, so we're just gonna slice. Now sometimes these come in big round pieces like this. So all you would do is just cut them into strips according to what type of cut it is. So, but this one is awesome because literally all I have to do is cut in a straight line. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these guys soaking in the mix. All right, I'm gonna keep cutting and then I'll be right back. All right, guys, I have all the rest of the meat sliced, and then I have the meat sitting in the milk. You'll see the picture of it right above. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up my prepping area for the meat. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of almond flour, and I'm just gonna coat the bottom of this pan. And the reason I'm doing that is once I do the wet, dry, wet, I can stick it right in here, and it'll help set the crust with the moisture. So I'm not missing anything. And I'm not gonna put any seasoning in this because it's not really that important. All right, so I got these guys nice and coated, beautiful and dripping. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my meat, I'm gonna set it in my dry, and I'm just gonna flip it. Okay. I'm gonna go wet, dry, wet, dry. Okay, and I'm going to use my pan that is not wet. And I'm just going to come through with some dry flour. Just make sure it gets a nice coating. There you go. I'm just going to set it in here. Get it staged for it. It's time to put it in the pan. All right, so I'm gonna do this a few more times and then we'll start cooking it. All right, guys, it's time to get cooking. So the oil is hot enough, and normally what I do, old school would say, hey, take water and just go, psh. That's a terrible idea. So I just take a little bit of flour and stick it in there. You hear that little bit of pop and bubble, ready to go. You hear the little, that means it's ready. All right, so what we're gonna do, and I have about this thick of olive oil. I do not use vegetable or canola. Those are not healthy for you. So olive oil has a higher smoke point, so I'm gonna use that over like an avocado oil. All right, here we go. I'm just gonna simply set these in. Just be careful it doesn't pop and burn you. It's gonna be good. All right, so I'm gonna let these go 5 minutes on one side, 5 minutes on the other side until the crust is crispy brown, not burnt, but crispy brown. And I'll be right back to show you what that looks like. All right, guys, the timer just went off. They have been on for 10 minutes. Let's see. You see the golden brown crust there. Beautiful, beautiful. So what I'm gonna do is use a dye-free, unprinted paper towel. And I always use glass or stainless steel. Glass is the best because stainless steel holds the heat and you can burn yourself when you try to move it. I never put hot things in plastic. All right, here we go. See, it stays together. It's gorgeous. Woo. All right. We're gonna very safely get these out of here without popping or burning ourselves. Okay, so there is a lot here. So I went ahead and did a double batch. So we'll have some for lunch, enough for lunch, and then I'm gonna leave this in a covered area. I'm not gonna put it in the ice box because it'll retain moisture and it'll actually make it where it will not fry up. So this will be dinner as well. So it's kind of a 2-for meal. So I'll be back when it's done. Ready to eat and enjoy with some wonderful herbal iced tea. Thank you for taking the time to cook with me in my kitchen. Happy eating.